Here we are, the end of a trilogy that no one asked for, yet they still come because I guess they make money. Congratulations on coming out to see Venom, so we get more Venom movies. This movie is also tracking to make money as well, so we may get that fourth Venom movie or that Venom Spider-Man crossover that we always wished for. Or maybe we won't. I don't know. After watching this movie, you don't really know what's going on. They create an ending for these characters while at the same time creating a continuation or a teaser for possible sequels. And I do think that's a big problem with the movie as a whole. From start to finish, it's just a very confusing mess that's going all over the place. There's so many characters here, so many subplots, so many stories. Most of them are useless. Juno Temple's character is useless. Well, she's not no, fuck that. She's useless. She doesn't add anything to the plot. But she's here. She's boring as hell. Chiwetel Ejiofor, again, doesn't really add much to the plot. Boring as hell. All their characters are here for is so that this way we have a place for the Venom, for the other symbiotes to go, for what happens toward the third act, and so that this way they can exposit who Noel is to the audience through these characters. That is all. When it comes to Noel as a character in this movie, I remember when the trailer or the teaser came out where they showed him in it, and people were like, you can't put Noel in this movie. They can't defeat Noel in one movie. He's a Thanos level threat, baby. Guess what, guys? They don't do that in one movie. They don't defeat Noel in this movie because Noel don't do shit. Noel don't do nothing. Oh, fuck Noel, he's dull, okay? He's a nigga sitting in the dark with his head down throughout the whole movie. He's just this. I'm gonna bring some darkness, nigga. I'm in the void, nigga. I'm gonna bring darkness. Once I get that codex off of Venom and Eddie, oh my god, I'm gonna bring that darkness, bro. You wait. It's coming. I got cockroaches that's gonna get it for me. But when I get that codex, darkness is coming, nigga. Just know that darkness is coming. That's all he does. He's a man in a void, surrounded by CGI cockroaches and stink bugs, just monologuing about how when he gets free, he's gonna bring darkness to everybody. He's very boring. I'm sure there's more to him in the comics. I'm sure he's a lot more interesting in the comics. But yeah, in this movie, he was devoid of interest. I did not care of him. The only people that you care about in this movie is literally Eddie and Venom and Mrs. Chow. We need to bring Mrs. Chow into most of these movies, especially knowing that she's a baddie now. She's a milfy milf. We need to bring her back. We didn't know that she was this fine. But now they done put her in this nice red dress out here in Vegas. We got new possibilities. And you throwing that away to what? Be around Juno Temple? Ugh. I know Juno Temple was a good actress. Unfortunately, Venom The Last Dance didn't know that, so they made her look terrible. Juno Temple in this movie is terrible in here. Her dialogue, her direction, the way they edit her scenes together, her introduction to her backstory is laughably bad. It's supposed to be emotional. You're supposed to be feeling for her, but I'm laughing at her. You got hit by lightning and electrocuted your brother to death? What the fuck? You couldn't take that seriously, the way they edited this together. The close-ups, the flashing of the camera zooming in and out of her. Oh, hold my hand. And then her brother gets like flame boiled, and then they just cut to her going, ah! And that's just the beginning of the movie. The dialogue here is garbaggio. They have Chiwetel Ejiofor saying some of the most nonsensical, generic, military, stern, bad guy, antagonist, military man dialogue. I'm gonna do what's best for my troops. We have a villain out there that cannot be beaten. We don't know what it is. He's very boring. Everybody here is just boring. And I'm sitting here watching this going, what are we doing right now? Has these movies always been this terrible? or at least this terribly put together. I didn't like Venom 1, but I thought it was put together rather it was just put together rather boringly and dully. But it still had a sense of pace and movement going on through it. A little bit trying too hard to be serious. But they eventually corrected that in Venom Let There Be Carnage, which again is a lot more flowy. It's definitely just a comedy. So things are just kind of happening randomly, but last time I remember watching that movie, just thinking about it, again, it had a sense of pace. It had a sense of flow. It had a sense of momentum. It felt like we were going somewhere throughout that movie. Here, this movie feels like we're in quicksand, slowly moving yet sinking at the same time. And because we have so many characters and Eddie is going from place to place to place, and sometimes it hyper focuses on these people over here, Juno Temple, Chiwetel Ejiofor, and this one black lady that's all about Christmas. Sometimes you forget Venom is even in this movie. Sometimes you forget it's a Venom movie. It feels like two movies. It's another one of those movies that feel like two movies that are just slowly moving towards each other until they collide and crash. And then you go, oh, this is one movie. So you have Eddie Brock, Venom, doing a buddy road trip on the run for their crimes that they've committed in the last movie. And then you have Juno Temple, her acting like she's high on so many drugs. Chiwetel Ejiofor just being boring. And again, a beautiful black woman with the Christmas tree on her chest talking to Stephen Graham with a symbiote inside him talking about Noel. And these movies feel so different. They feel so they even when they sometimes come together and they just have moments of action, they still feel so separated from each other that when the time they do crash into each other, it's just a bunch of it acts like a crash. It's just explosions, symbiotes, action, loud noises, bangs, booms, pows, symbiotes. To a point, you're just kind of like, I guess this is fun. This movie is so goofy and so devoid of structure, sometimes devoid of character, that towards the end it tries to be sappy and sentimental and emotional. And at times you do hit, because at the end of the day, these are two characters who has grown with each other. You do like them, all things considered. You like them two together. Their bromance is slowly growing throughout these movies, so you do like them two together. And when you get to that emotional point between them two at the end of this movie, you do feel a little bit of something. You feel a little bit of twinge. You feel like, oh man, this is the end. This is sad. And then they go into do a weird montage of Tom Hardy just looking sad, reminiscing on Venom scenes that you've watched in this movie and other movies. And you're like, I don't know if this is a joke or are we serious right now. I'm thinking this is serious. But I'm not sure, because this music can't be serious. And the editing here also can't be all that serious either. With the crossfades and just having Eddie stand in places and the close-ups of Tom Hardy looking sad. Like, I don't know exactly what it is I'm supposed to begin from this. I don't know if you want me to laugh or you want me to cry. I'm definitely not crying, so I'm just gonna laugh. That's my only emotions left. Overall, man, this movie is just not good to me. It's some fun here to be had, but a lot of it is just boring science, military acting, and another part of it is just overly goofy, terribly edited comedy that somewhat makes you laugh here and there, but for the most part is awkward and jumbled and messy to the point where you get lost and you barely understand what's going on. So for that, Venom The Last Dance, you're getting a 4 out of 10. Sorry, had to do it to you. But maybe you'll disagree. If you disagree, All right, man, subscribe. I say so many different opinions here. We're bound to agree eventually. So, subscribe and keep up, and maybe the next movie review or the next thing I do, we'll agree. If you agree wholeheartedly with me, well, then you know what to do. Like and subscribe because you agree with me. So, you might as well like and subscribe. But if you just agree with me somewhat, just like the video. That's been the review. Thank you for watching, and as always, good and bye.